You guys check this out. I just saw this interview with the guy's named Adam Frisch. He's a candidate for the House of Representatives in Aspen, Colorado. And MSNBC is interviewing him, and Al Sharpton asked him a question, generally leading him into the, the regular Democrat propagandist tagline of our democracy is under threat, and this rogue Supreme Court and all of this bull crap that they want us to believe. And Adam Frisch kind of puts Al Sharpton in his place. He tells him, the average American is worried about things that are much more important to them in this moment than that. And it is just hilarious, and I wanted to share it. So while he's talking, watch Mika's face. And I'm not sure who the other journalist is, the one on the upper right. Watch their face, but especially Mika. She can't even believe what she's hearing, and she's thinking the whole time, how am I going to spin this back to get him back in line with what we want him to say? It cracked me up. So anyways, let's go.
Adam, Al Sharpton, also, don't you think it would be beneficial to candidates, Democratic candidates for Congress, if they talked about the threat that this Supreme Court decisions have made in terms of now we're dealing with probably giving a president unprecedented powers that this country was not built on?
Unprecedented powers that this country was not built on. They're so ridiculous and just so it's just such theatrics.
So there can be debates of whether people agree with you or New Generation or not. But everyone, I think, has to agree that we have a threat to democracy. Is that not also something you would advise, Adam, that a lot of congressional people should campaign on, which is why we need a strong Congress that can counter with the judicial branch of government now led by this, in my opinion, runaway Supreme Court has put us in a very bad position.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, sir. I think the number one Supreme Court issue that remains focused for people kind of boots on the ground is the overturn of Roe v. Wade and the Dobbs decision. I appreciate there's a lot of concerns about democracy. Our country is going to survive. I will say this with a lot of respect to people on the show elsewhere. If your top two issues are the climate crisis and the democracy conversation, you should feel very lucky you're in a really good position in your life.
Right.
The people I'm talking to are trying to figure out how to afford health care and child care, how to make sure that they should buy clothing for their kids or buy more food. And I think, to me, that is something that the Democratic Party, as well as the Republican Party, is missing. They're just not focused on what I'm hearing. I feel like I've done like a 57,000-mile focus group, and they're focused on how do they keep their heads above water over the next couple of days and the next couple of months. Of course, the climate crisis is real. Of course, democracy is important, but they're trying to figure out how to get by the next month or three. And that's something that I think both parties, especially the Democratic Party, have been missing for a long time.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say a couple of things can be true at the same time, because I think some.
Yeah, now she's going to try her hardest to rope him back in, but look at him. He's just grinning. He's like, he knows what she's doing, and she wants to bring him back into the thing that she wants him to say. But, so now she's going to try to rope him back in, and then eventually she's just going to get a little bit of what she wants, and then she's going to cut him off.
Some of the people you're talking about that you're hearing from, also depending on where they live, some states have them bleeding out in hospital rooms because they can't get the health care that they need. So abortion is as front and center as some of the issues that you're putting at the top. And in terms of democracy,
isn't abortion like the opposite of health care?
And climate, but democracy, we kind of need a democracy to be able to give Americans the freedoms they deserve. So I don't think you can write it off as not a top issue. It may not be front of mind for people who are trying to get through the week, but the benefits of living in a democracy, I'd just say that Americans are perhaps inured, if they're not thinking about this, to the freedoms that we have before us. They're not for free. They're not easy to get. And this easily slips away into something terrible. Is that fair to say, sir?
No, without a doubt. Listen, freedom is important. Democracy is important. But the reason I called for the president to step aside with a heavy heart is, listen, governing is hard, but if you don't win, you don't govern. And so I think if the Democratic Party wants to govern, they have to win. And right now, I don't see anything out there, fact-based, that says that the Democratic Party is going to win the White House with the current president running. And I say that with a heavy heart. It's not about past results. Right. It's not about how good of a man he is.
Okay.
Cut him off.
Okay. Thank you. Democratic nominee for the House in Colorado's 3rd congressional district, Adam Frisch. Thank you very much for sharing your opinions this morning. We appreciate it.
Anyway, that was hilarious. I just caught that, wanted to share it real quick. I don't feel like making the whole video and editing for that, but I thought that was a hilarious clip. I catch that a lot on MSNBC where the guest, they're expecting or try to lead him to saying one thing, or lead him or her to saying one particular thing, but there's something else that's on their mind that is maybe more pressing and more important in the moment, or more important to like that, the average American. And MSNBC, they jump in real quick and try to drag them back to the point that they want, and just eke out maybe even one sentence that is in agreement with them, and then they'll cut them off. But anyhow, I thought that was hilarious. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to talk about that. If you want to talk about something else, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you later.